इस वीडियो में मैं आपको इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के प्रोज के कुछ क्वेश्चंस के बारे में बात करूंगा और 2024 के ज्यादातर क्वेश्चंस के बारे में, जैसे कि मैंने पहले भी वीडियोस में बताया, हाँ, बात करूंगा। और कुछ लिमिटेड क्वेश्चंस, अगर आपको पूरे क्वेश्चन चाहिए तो आप पीडीएफ परचेज कर सकते हैं। ओके, स्टार्ट करते हैं। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। ये सारे क्वेश्चंस 2024 में पूछे गए हैं। पहला है, व्हाट इन्फ्रेंस कैन यू ड्रॉ अबाउट सोफीज रिलेशन with her father in the story Going to Place? गोइंग टू प्लेस स्टोरी में सोफी का अपने फादर के साथ कैसा रिलेशन था। सेकंड, वी मिस अ थिंग when we are in fear of losing it. Subsessionate this the statement with the example from the lesson, the last lesson, how the pupil in the story suddenly realized how precious their language was to them. ये बताना है। Third, what did Peddler say in defense when it was clear that he was not the person of Iron Man thought him to be? Next question है, that the god that failed referred to dash dash dash. Poets and pancake से लिया गया, इसको फिल अप करना है, इसका मीनिंग बताना है। Next, what according to the Umberto Eco is the belief that most journalists and publishers have? Next interview का क्वेश्चन है। Next question है, it is said that the face of the mirror of one's emotion. Why did the poet smile and smile? Next, what confusion does the divan have when the tiger king brought the topic of his marriage? Next, why Antarctic experience was full of epiphancies, says the Trishani Doshi. Which experience does she consider the best and why? Yeah, Journey to the End of the Earth. Met Chitkala says eating by formula wasn't the hardest trial in that first day. What does she by say by that, or what does she mean by that? ये भी लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन है इंग्लिश के। Imagine you are John Keats, the poet of A Thing of Beauty. What advice would you offer to Robert Frost, the poet of A Roadside Stand, in the context of his sad that lookers near the open window? Pen down your advice in a letter to Frost how to deal with the sadness. You may begin with, ये beginning of the letter बताया, Dear Frost, I have recently read your poem, that is a roadside stand. You may end, by the way, despite the fact that our lives are full of sorrow and sufferings, the beautiful things around us give us the strength to endure the sadness of life. Warmly, John Keats. Second long question है, compare the comprehensive comparison of the themes of My Mother at 66 and Aunt Jennifer's Tiger. Discuss the different ways the poem addresses the concept of struggle and reliances. Next, Dr. Sadao is disturbed and in Delmia since he has decided to help the enemy soldier. Describe his conflict and challenges faced in front of in form of a diary entry. Next, in the story, the third level, the reality and fantasies are interwoven. देखिए, ये 2024 के क्वेश्चंस हैं जिनको मैंने पूरा पढ़ा है और ये अलग अलग सेट्स में जो क्वेश्चंस आए हैं वो सारे दिए हुए हैं। अब जो है आगे मैं चैप्टर वाइज क्वेश्चन पढ़ूंगा मगर थोड़े थोड़े यानी कि 5 to 8 क्वेश्चंस में पढ़ूंगा। बाकी अगर आपको डिटेल चाहिए तो यू कैन टेक पीडीएफ फ्रॉम मी। ओके, चलिए अब स्टार्ट करते हैं लास्ट लेसन के कुछ क्वेश्चंस मैं पढ़ने जा रहा हूं। Why were some elderly persons occupy the back benches that day? Second, why did Franz not want to go to school that day? What did Franz wonder about when he entered the class that day? Next question, third, why did Hamel wrote Viva la France on the blackboard? What does it mean? Why did he cry at the end of the class? Next, fourth question. We have got a great deal to reapproach ourselves with, said M. Hamel. Comment. यानी कि आपको बताना है कि क्या कह रहा है. What shows M. Hamel love for the French language? What had been put up on the bulletin board? Next question. Who did M. Hamel blame for the neglect of learning on the part of the boys like France? What was unusual about M. Hamel dress on his last day in the school? Next, what tempted France to stay away from the school? What was the order? Who did M. Hamel blame for the neglect of learning on the part of the boys like France? What was unusual about M. Hamel dress on his last day in the school? Next, what tempted France to stay away from the school? What was order from the bulletin Berlin called Thunderclap by friends? Why does M. Hamel reapproach himself for the student unsatisfactory progress in the students? कुछ questions last lessons के last spring के पढ़ूंगा. What was the reference of Temple in the story about the economic conditions of the rag pickers? इसी में second question है. It is the tradition to stay barefoot. ये दोनों का आंसर सही में ध्यान रखिएगा. What does it tell about the rag pickers of Simapuri? In spite of despair and this disease pervading the lives of the slum children, they are not devoid of hope. How far are you agree? Next, describe the irony of Sahib's name. What job was Sahib doing and was he happy to work at the tea stall? Next, what does the writer mean when he says Sahib is no longer his own master? Third question, what did garbage mean to the children and their parents of Simapuri or survival in the Simapuri means rag picking? Comment. What was Sahib's look in the garbage dump? What does the title The Lost Spring convey? Next, why did Sahib parents leave Dhaka and migrate to India? In what sense the garbage is gold to rag pickers? Next, whom does Anil's Jung blame for the story plot of the Bangle? What was Mukesh's dream? Do you think will he able to fulfill his dream? Next, how is Mukesh different from the other bangle makers of Firozabad? and how was he under the burden of two worlds? बाकी क्वेश्चंस आपको चाहिए पीडीएफ ले लीजिए, हैं? सारे क्वेश्चंस आपको मिल जाएंगे। नेक्स्ट डीप वाटर, इसके भी 8 क्वेश्चन पढ़ूंगा। Why did Douglas fail to come to the surface of the pool as he hoped? Second question, why YMCA pool was preferred by Douglas? What shocking experience did he have in the pool? Third, what did the writer learn from drowning experience, or how did writer experience at YMCA affect him? All we have to fear is fear itself. When did Douglas learn this lesson? Discuss why was Douglas determined to overcome his fear? Next, what lesson did Douglas learn when he got rid of his fear of water? How did Douglas finally get of a fear he had of water? Question number 6. The two incidents made Douglas scared of water. Next, seventh question. What were the series of emotions and fear that Douglas experienced when he was thrown into pool? And eighth question. How did instructor help Douglas to overcome the fear of water? Or what were the efforts made by writer to overcome the fear of water? Okay, next, rat trap. Why did the crofter show the 30 corners to the peddler? How did crofter received the peddler? Second, why was peddler happy at the crofter's home? Why did peddler knock on the cottage by the roadside? Next question इसी में, why was Crofter so talkative and friendly to the peddler? Why did peddler keep to woods after leaving the cottage of the crofter? Next question है fourth. Third, why did Iron Master speak kindly to the peddler and invite him home? या उसी का दूसरा पार्ट है, how did the Iron Master react on seeing the stranger lying close to the furnace? Next, fourth question, why did Elda, Edla still entertain the peddler even after she knew that he was a vagabond? Next, why did Iron Master speak kindly to the peddler and invite him home? और इसी का दूसरा पार्ट है, how did Iron Master react on seeing the stranger lying close to the furnace? Next, why did Elda still entertain the peddler even after she knew that he was a vagabond? What conclusion did the Iron Master reach when he heard that the crofter had been robbed by the peddler? What was the content written in the letter given by the peddler to Elda? Was Elda happy to receive the gift? Seventh, what did the peddler do to keep his body and soul together? Next, why did stranger not tell the Iron Master that he was not Neil Olf? Why did the peddler decline the invitation of the Iron Master? Next, Indigo के questions. How did Shukla succeed in persuading Gandhi to visit Champaran? Why did he want to take Gandhiji Who is Rajkumar Shukla? Second, how did Gandhiji influence the lawyer at the Champaran and how did he help the peasants of the Champaran? Third question, why did he feel taking the Champaran case to the court was useless? Next, why did servant think this Champaran Gandhiji was the other peasant and how era they treated at the house of Dr. Rajendra Prasad? Why did Gandhiji go to Muzaffarpur before going to Champaran? Why do you think Gandhiji considered Champaran case to be a turning point of his life? Why did Gandhi say the Battle of Champaran is war? What did he mean to say so? Next, seventh question. How did Gandhi look after the ashram from the long distance of Champaran? Next, what made Gandhi demand for 50% refund from the British landlords? And what was the settlement and why did he agree for 25%? Going to places. What was Sophie's ambition in life? How did she hope to achieve that? How is Sophie's and Gen Z different from each other? Second, why is Sophie attracted by to Denny Casey? Why didn't Sophie want Gen Z to know about her story with Denny, which was the only occasion when Sophie got to see Denny Casey in person? Next, why did Sophie long for the brother's affection? Did Geoff keep up his promise? How do you know? Why was Sophie jealous of Geoff's silence? Second, fourth question. What is unrealistic about Sophie's dream of her future life? Why did Jinsey discourage Sophie from having dreams? Next, how do we know that Sophie's family lived in the poor circumstances? Sixth, what was the reaction of father when Geoff told him about the meeting of Sophie with Denny Casey? Second, next, what thoughts came to Sophie's mind as she sat by the canal? Why did Nancy discourage Sophie from entertaining thought about the sports stars Denny Casey? ये पोएम के कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं. Why has the poet brought in the image of the merry children spilling out their house? What does it show? Second, what was the parting words of the poetess? What does it mean? Next, what were the feeling of the poet at the airport and how did she hide her feeling? Next, why are the young trees described as sprinting? How did mother look like during the drive टू कोचीन? ध्यान रखिए ये पोएम के मैं पांच पांच क्वेश्चंस पढ़ रहा हूं. अगर आपको ज्यादा चाहिए तो पीडीएफ से ले सकते हैं. कीपिंग क्वाइट. Why can human being learn from the nature? What can human being learn from the nature? What symbol from the nature does the poet involve that there can be a life under the stillness? Do you believe that in the poem Keeping Quiet, the poet advocates the total inactivity and death? How can suspension of activity help? Next, what kind of different wars are mentioned in the poem? According to the poet Neruda, can keeping quiet change our attitude of life? Next, what are the images in the poem? Keeping quiet shows that the poet condemns violence. Next, sixth question. What sadness that the poet refers in the poem? Seventh question. What is the exotic moment that poet refers in the poem? Think of beauty. What images does the poet use to describe the beauty bounty of the earth? What is the message given by the poet in the poem? Why the grandeur associated with the mighty dead? Why does a thing of beauty never pass into nothingness? How is a thing of beauty is joy forever and help us to live happy life? How does a thing of beauty provide shelter and comfort? What spreads the pall of despondence over the dark spirit? How is it removed? What makes the human being love life in spite of all troubles? Aunt Jennifer. How does the poet describe Aunt Jennifer's tiger? What is the symbol of tiger, finger, ring stands in the poem? How does the words Tezen and Shibboleth add to our understanding in the poem? Why did Aunt choose the embroidered tiger on the panel? Next, what kind of married life did Aunt lead? Why did she make prancing proud and unfair tiger? Next, how does Aunt expresses her bitterness and anger against male dominance? How was Tiger different from her? What are the difficulties that Aunt faced in her life? What was the ordeal faced? Roadside stand. What is the childish longing of the folk who had put the roadside stand? Why is it in vain? Next, the government and the other social service agency appear to help poor rural people but do them no good. Pick the word or phrase used about itness. Imagine the child from the farmer's family migrate to the city for the education. As the child writes back to your family, telling them whether you would or would not want to turn into the city person. Why? By using the context of the poem. Okay, next हम करते हैं now Tiger King. Why did Maharaja decide to get married? What problem did Maharaja faced after killing 70 tigers and how did he solve it? Next, when did Maharaja decide to double the tax of the villagers? Why was Maharaja once about to lose his kingdom? How did he solve the problem or save it? Next, when Maharaja was 10 days old, prediction was made about the future of Tiger King was what was ironical in it. Next, what did the British officer secretary tell the Maharaja? Why did Maharaja refuse the permission? Why What trait it tells about both of them. Next, why did Maharaja ban the hunting of tiger of the state? Why was Maharaja anxious to kill 100th tiger? How did the Tiger King become the victim of the 100th tiger? Who killed the 100th tiger and why? What was the ironical in it? Next, question 7. What gave the astrologer the greatest surprise of their life while they were studying the horoscope of the 10 days old prince? How did the prediction of the astrologer come to be true? Next, enemy. What was the chief concern of Sadau's father about him? What was the father's dream? How did Sadao realize it? How can you say that Sadao's father was very traditional and conventional in nature? Next, when, where, and how did Sadao meet Hannah? What was the role of American professor in bringing Hannah and Sadao together? Third question, why was Sadao not sent with troops? Next question. Fourth, at which condition did Sadao find the American soldiers at seashore? Why did he treat the soldier even it was unpatriotic act on the part? What was the reaction of Yumi when Hana told her to wash the wounds of the white soldier? Why did Hana wash the wound of the white man? How did Hana help him in the treatment? What forced him to be impatient and irritable with the patient? Next question F5. Why did the journal not order immediate arrest of Dr. Sadao on giving the shelter to American? और इसका दूसरा क्वेश्चन बनता है, why did he spare the American soldier? Next, did Hana think that the Japanese tortured their prisoner of war? Next, why? What secret plan did the journal have about the American soldiers staying at Sadao's? Was it executed? Next, question number 6. In what context Hannah remember the cruel nature of journal? Seventh, how nearly had Dr. Sadao missed marrying Hannah? What was the reason for Sadao speak sharply to Hannah and what was her reaction during the treatment of white man who sent the messenger to Sadao and why? Next, face of it. How does Mr. Lamb react when Derry entered his garden? What kind of garden Mr. Lamb had? Second question. How did Derry handicap damage his life? Why did Derry stay away from people? Why did Derry insist to go back to Mr. Lamb? In what sense the friendship between Mr. Lamb and Derry was fruitful? Next, if you were to give the ending of the chapter, what type of ending would you like to give? Next, as told by Mr. Lamb, why did he lock himself within the house? How did Mr. Lamb keep himself busy when it was bit cool? What peculiar things does Derry notice about the old man? Next, who was Derry? What did he suffer from? Next, what does Mr. Lamb leave his gate? Why does what does Mr. Lamb leave his gate open of his house? What did Derry mother thinking about Mr. Lamb? What peculiar things does Derry notice about the old man? Who was Derry? What did he suffer from? Why does Mr. Lamb leave his gate open to of his house? What did Derry's mother thinking about Mr. Lamb? Memories of childhood. Describe the experiences Bama had on her way back home. When did Bama first come to know of the social discrimination faced by the people of her community? Why did the landlord's man ask Bama's brother in which street he lived? What was the significance? Second question, what made Jitkala feel sad and crying first day on the land of apples? How did Jitkala try to prevent the shingling of hair? Why was Jitkala terrified when Judwin told her that her hair would be cut short? Why did Jitkala mention eating by formula? Third question, I felt like sinking to the floor, says Jitkala. When did she feel so and why? Why did Jitkala resist the cutting of her hair? Next question 4. What was the advice that Anna gave to Bama? How long would it take Bama to walk home from her school? Next, how would Bama rise above the indignities? What were the articles in the stall and shop that fascinated Bama on her way back to school? What activities of the pupil would Bama watch in bazaar? Seventh question. Sixth question. What was much common between Jitkala and Bama? Third level. How did the world help Charlie to confirm his doubt regarding the third level? What had happened to Sam, the narrator's friend? Why could Charlie not be convinced by the distraction that the third level was only a wish fulfillment? Why did booking clerk refuse to accept the money from Charlie? Why did Charlie ran away from the third level? Why did Charlie suspect that Sam had gone to Galesburg? Interview. Why do celebrities dislike interview? Next, are Mukund and Eco on the same page when it comes to their views about the Eco's work? How can substantiate your response with reference to interview? Who in today's world is the chief source of information about the personalities? देखिए, मैंने इसमें आपको ज्यादातर क्वेश्चंस देने की कोशिश की है, विस्टास के भी, फ्लेमिंगो के पोएम्स के भी और प्रोज के भी। हाँ, इसको आप पढ़िए। अगर आपको ज्यादा क्वेश्चन चाहिए तो पीडीएफ ले लीजिए। मैं इसकी लिंक जो है वो आपको शेयर कर दूंगा। ओके।